You may think your life is not changing because you are not doing something big enough, but the truth is the opposite. Your life is not changing because you do not take the small things seriously. Think about it carefully. You tell yourself that change will come when you finally take one big step, but reality does not work that way. Big changes almost never arrive all at once. They are built through small changes repeated over time. Atomic Habits changes the game through this one principle: 1% improvement every day. It sounds small, almost insignificant, but its impact can transform your life. Imagine becoming just 1% better every day. After a month, you would be slightly better, but after a year, you would become a completely different person. That is the compound effect. Small improvement, repeated again and again, slowly turns into massive results. But what is the problem? You want the result without the process. You want instant success, instant change, but habits are slow, and because they are slow, you lose patience. That is why you start, but you do not continue. Ask yourself this: how many times have you started something and then quit? The gym, reading, learning. Why did you stop? Because you could not see the result. But the truth is, results are invisible until they suddenly become visible. You keep working, and in the beginning, it feels like nothing is happening. Then one day, the change begins to show. But most people never reach that point because they quit in the middle. Now understand something deeper. You ignore your identity. You say, "I want to become fit," but deep down, what do you believe about yourself? Lazy, inconsistent, undisciplined. That conflict is what stops you, because you act according to who you believe you are. If you don't see yourself as disciplined, you won't behave like a disciplined person. That is why identity must change first. Behavior follows after that. Now imagine that every day you begin telling yourself, "I am the kind of person who takes action daily." What happens then? You begin acting that way, and slowly, over time, you actually become that person. Now look at another mistake. You make habits too difficult. You tell yourself, "From tomorrow, I will study for 2 hours," or "From tomorrow, I will go to the gym every day." But that's unrealistic, and that's exactly why you fail. So the rule is simple. Start so small that you can't say no. Read 1 page, do 5 push-ups, work for 10 minutes. That's enough. Because starting is the hardest part. Once you start, continuing becomes much easier. Now here's another powerful truth. You don't lose to your habits, you lose to your environment. If your phone is next to you, you will get distracted. If junk food is in front of you, you will eat it. Your environment shapes your behavior. So if you want to change your life, change your environment. Remove distractions. Make the right actions easier to reach. And you will notice your habits beginning to change almost on their own. Slowly, you begin to understand that success is not one big moment. It's a chain of small decisions that move you forward every single day. And the day you begin taking the 1% rule seriously, your life will begin to change quietly. Now, there's one thing most people never understand. You think you need to change your habits, but the truth is, you need to change your system. This is one of the most powerful shifts Atomic Habits teaches. Goals don't create lasting change. Systems do. Understand this carefully. You set a goal. You say, "I want to lose weight." But if your daily system is still the same routine, the same habits, the same choices, then what will happen? Motivation will carry you for a few days, then everything will fall apart. Because a goal gives you direction, but a system takes you there. Take a simple example. 2 people have the same goal. One has a strong system, the other has a weak one. After some time, the person with the stronger system moves ahead, not because they wanted it more, but because they were consistent every day. And consistency is more powerful than results. Now, look at another mistake. You become attached to the outcome. You keep saying, "I want results, I want them quickly." But that pressure makes you inconsistent. Because when the result is delayed, you become frustrated, and then you quit. But if you shift your focus from the result to the process, everything changes. You stop carrying unnecessary stress. You take action every day, and slowly the result begins to arrive on its own.
Now understand another deep truth. You think you need stronger willpower. But the truth is, willpower is limited. You can't force yourself every single time. That is why smart people don't depend on willpower. They build systems. For example, if you want to wake up early, keep your phone away from your bed at night. Place your alarm somewhere that forces you to get up. That way, you don't have to make a decision in the morning. The fewer decisions you need to make, the more consistent you become. Now there's another powerful concept: habit stacking. It means attaching a new habit to an existing habit. For example, after drinking tea, read 2 pages. After brushing your teeth, meditate for 5 minutes. Slowly, the new habit becomes automatic because the brain follows patterns. Now understand something else. You think you need to be perfect, but perfection is not necessary. Consistency is necessary. You won't be perfect all the time. You will miss a day, you will take a break, something will go wrong. But the rule is simple. Don't miss twice in a row. Missing once is normal. Missing twice begins to break the habit. Now imagine following this rule. Small actions repeated daily. No overthinking. What happens? You begin to build. Slowly, your identity starts to change.
You are no longer the person who only makes plans. You become the person who takes action every day. And that is the biggest shift. Because when identity changes, habits begin to stay. Slowly, you begin to realize that success does not come from speed. Success comes from consistency. And the day you understand this game, you will stop chasing fast growth and start building stable growth. But now understand something that quietly destroys all your effort. Your focus is on the result, not the process. Every day you look in the mirror and ask, has anything changed? Every week you check and ask, did I make progress? And when the answer is not clear, your motivation breaks. But that is the biggest mistake. Progress is built internally first. It becomes visible later. Atomic Habits explains this through a powerful idea called the plateau of latent potential. It means you are putting in effort consistently, but the result is not yet visible. You feel as if nothing is happening. But what is the reality? You are growing. It is just not visible yet. And this is where most people give up, because they believe their effort is being wasted. But the truth is, effort is being stored. Then one day it suddenly breaks through. But most people never reach that point because they quit halfway. Now, look at another deep pattern. You build outcome-based habits. You say, I want to lose 10 kilos. But the outcome is not fully in your control. Action is. So, what do smart people do? They build process-based habits. I will walk for 30 minutes every day. That's it. The result may come slowly, but the process is fixed, and that is what creates victory in the long run. Now, here's another powerful truth. You think you need massive motivation, but motivation is unreliable. Today it is high, tomorrow it is gone. So your habit design should be so simple that you don't need motivation. Make the habit so easy that you cannot skip it. Imagine making a rule. I will do it for only 2 minutes. Just 2 minutes. What happens? You start. And once you start, you naturally continue, because starting is where the greatest resistance lives. Now, look at another mistake. When you miss a day, you punish yourself. You say, I'm useless, I'm not consistent. But that approach pushes you even lower. Because change does not come from guilt, it comes from awareness. If you miss a day, simply notice it and return the next day. That's real consistency. Now, understand another powerful concept: identity votes. Every small action is a vote for the person you want to become.
If you work out, you are casting a vote that says, I am disciplined. If you skip, the vote goes towards, I am lazy. And slowly, whichever side receives more votes becomes your identity. Now, imagine giving yourself small, correct votes every day. What happens? Your identity becomes stronger. And once your identity becomes strong, you no longer have to force yourself as much. You begin acting that way naturally. Slowly, you begin to understand that change is not fast, but it is deep. And deep change lasts. The day you accept that patience, every small step begins taking you to a new level. Now, understand another truth. This one either multiplies all your effort or slowly destroys it. Your environment. You think, I need to become strong, I need discipline. But the truth is, you lose to your environment. You don't win by willpower alone. Atomic Habits makes this clear. The easiest way to change behavior is to change the environment. Look closely. If your phone is always nearby, you cannot escape distraction. If junk food is kept in front of you, you cannot easily stay healthy. If you are surrounded by negative people, your mindset will struggle to stay strong. Your surroundings shape your decisions. Here's a simple rule. Make the habit you want visible. Make the habit you don't want invisible. If you want to read, keep the book in front of you. If you want to use your phone less, keep it away. Because what is visible is what gets done automatically. Now, understand another powerful concept: friction. The easier something is to do, the more likely you are to do it. The harder something is, the more likely you are to avoid it. So, what is the solution? Make good habits easy. Make bad habits hard. If you want to go to the gym, keep your clothes ready the night before. If you want to avoid junk food, don't keep it in the house. It's that simple, but the impact is huge. Now, understand something deeper. You think, once I become strong, I'll fight distractions. But strong people don't keep fighting distractions, they avoid them. Because they know it's better to change the situation than to fight the same battle again and again. Now, imagine optimizing your environment. What happens? You don't have to push yourself as hard. You naturally begin doing the right things. Slowly, life starts to feel easier. Brief breath. Now, look at another hidden force: the reward system. Your brain repeats an action because it receives a reward. If there is no reward, the habit will not last. So, make good habits immediately rewarding. For example, listen to music after a workout. Give yourself a small reward after finishing work. This helps the brain connect the action with something positive. It begins to think, this feels good. Repeat it. Now, look at another mistake. You think in the long term, but your brain wants short-term reward. So, if you make the habit enjoyable, it will last. Now, imagine taking small steps every day. Your environment is aligned, friction is low. What happens? The effort feels smaller, but the result becomes bigger. That's smart work. Slowly, you begin to understand that discipline does not mean torturing yourself. Discipline means designing your life so the right actions become easy and the wrong actions become difficult.
And the day you learn that design, you will not have to force yourself to change. Your environment will begin changing you. And the day your environment begins changing you, half the battle is already over. But there is another truth very few people understand. You build habits, you set up your environment, and still, after some time, you fall back. Why? Because you keep chasing the outcome and become bored with the process. In the beginning, there's excitement. Everything feels new. But after a few days, it all starts to feel normal. And that is where most people quit. Atomic Habits gives this phase a name: the Valley of Boredom. It is the stage where growth is happening, but excitement is gone. And this is where discipline is truly tested. Ask yourself this: do you only work when you are excited, or can you keep going even when you are not in the mood? Because success belongs to those who can repeat the boring process. Now imagine doing the same thing every day. The same routine, the same effort, no major result in sight. What will your mind say? Quit. Try something new. But that moment is the most important one, because that is where consistency is built. That is where people begin to separate from one another. Now understand another deep truth. You think you need the perfect routine, but there is no perfect routine. There is only an adaptable routine. Some days will be good, some days will be bad. But the rule should be simple. I will not stop. I may slow down, but I will not stop. Now understand another powerful concept: the Goldilocks rule. A task should not be so easy that it becomes boring, and it should not be so hard that it feels impossible. It should be challenging enough to keep you engaged. That is the zone where you grow. Now imagine stepping slightly outside your comfort zone every day. What happens? You improve, you stay engaged, and most importantly, you do not quit. Now look at another mistake. You are afraid of failure. But failure is not the real problem. Quitting is the problem. You can miss a day, you can make a mistake, but if you come back, you are still in the game. And as long as you're in the game, you can win. Now here's another powerful realization. You think you are slow. But the truth is, being slow is not the problem. Stopping is the problem. Because slow progress is still progress, and in the long run, it becomes incredibly powerful. Now imagine improving a little every day for a full year. What happens? You become the kind of person people look at and ask, how did they do that? But you will know the truth. It was not the result of one day. It was the result of boring consistency. Slowly, you begin to understand that success is not exciting. Success is repetitive. The same actions again and again. And the person who accepts that repetition is the person who moves ahead. The day you stop treating boredom as the enemy and start seeing it as part of the process, you become unstoppable. Now comes the final and most direct truth. You've heard all of this. You have understood it. Maybe you are thinking, yes, this is what I need to do. But the real difference will be decided by one thing. Will you start living this from today, or will it become just another dose of motivation? Because life doesn't change through ideas. Life changes through daily action. And action is almost always small. Not a huge leap, just one small step you take today, then repeat tomorrow, then repeat the day after that. Slowly, that small step changes your entire identity. That is the real magic of atomic habits. You don't need overnight change. You need to become 1% better every day. Imagine improving just 1% today. It may not feel like much. But if you repeat that 1% for 365 days, what happens? Your entire life upgrades. Quietly, slowly, permanently. Now, the choice is yours. Will you repeat the same old habits, or will you build a new identity that becomes a little better every day? Because remember this, you don't live from your habits alone. You live from your identity.
And when identity changes, your whole life changes. So don't let these ideas end as something you simply heard. Turn them into a commitment. Choose one small habit today. It doesn't have to be big, it only has to be daily. Because small habits are what build a bigger life. And if you truly don't want these lessons to remain only words, bring this book into your life. Don't just read it, follow it. Every chapter shows how change is designed, how it is built, how it becomes real. Approach it not as something to browse, but as something to practice. Because free knowledge can inspire you, but applied knowledge changes your life. And remember this: the person who becomes 1% better every day eventually becomes 100% different. And that is the day life truly changes.